Shalom. I'd like to start out by giving all glory, all praise, all honor to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of the great millstone. Shalom to the elect of Israel. This is the Mayim in Atlanta. And considering all the exposure that the Edomites are getting and basically the hegemony of Western rulership are getting right now, I figured I'd have a little chat with old Chat GPT. And so I asked it, I said, what happens when your power is secrecy, but you've been exposed? And through our apostles and elders of the great millstone, we've been told for years that this devil, when I say the devil, I'm speaking of the Edomites, the so-called white people, including the tiny tops, that's the devil. That's what I'm speaking of, the Edomites. And their power has been secrecy for the longest time. They've been trying to hide themselves, and that's what they've done. They've hid themselves, calling themselves by different country names. If they're the Brits, they're the Germans, they're the Australians, South Africans. They hide themselves by calling themselves colors, like white, and then everybody else different colors, like so-called Negroes are called black. They hide themselves by calling themselves the Christians and the people of the Lord that are in the land of the Lord. They're claiming to be of the Lord, but they are anything but. These are the Edomites. But that secrecy of theirs is being destroyed, especially the secrecy they've had of pretending to be morally upright. That is all being destroyed. You're seeing Edom for exactly what they are, and they're unable to hide themselves anymore. So that's why I asked that question. What happens when your power is secrecy, but you have been exposed? And so let's get a script real quick. Jeremiah 49 and verse 10. It says, but I have made Esau bare. Esau, the so-called white man, including the tiny tops. Not every single one of them, but for the most part, that is the biblical nation of Edom. It says, but I have made Esau bare. I have uncovered his secret places. So Esau is exposed. And it's funny, they're called you could call them the E-files. And we call the Edomites E. Sometimes you have to put it within the writing for your lessons. But these E-files that are out are exposing the Edomites. It's nothing less than deviants and sick, perverted people. It's murderers. It's idolaters. It's Satanists. As PDF files, as alphabet people as well. It's everything that is wicked and wrong. They are being exposed for that. These are wicked murderers of children. Jeremiah 49 and 10. But I've made Esau bare. I have uncovered his secret places. Those files were a lot of his secret places. Knowing that they're not the people of the Lord is one of their secret places. These things are being called out, knowing white Jesus is a fraud. That's one of his secret places. And it says, and he shall not be able to hide himself, because soon it's going to be, that is the devil. People are really seeing that man of sin is being revealed. His seed is spoiled, and his brethren and his neighbors, and he is not. We're coming into that time where these Edomites don't exist anymore because they are the wicked. And we're going to have a world of righteousness, and there just won't be any place for them being there because they are naturally wicked. Going back to this, but they have been exposed. It says, when secrecy is your power and it's gone, a few hard truths kick in. First, the power evaporates. So there, as King David said, break their teeth, O Lord. Teeth go into power, and that power is being broken down as we speak. So secrecy works because it controls information, and that's what they do. They run the media and entertainment stratus within this world, timing and perception. And we're seeing, it says, I have made thee small amongst the heathen. Thou art greatly despised. They went from being the golden child of the earth to being completely despised and being, they are, their status basically has been lowered. They're insignificant now. That perception has changed. It says once exposed, you lose the asymmetry. People can see the game, anticipate your moves, and resist you openly. And the Lord has given this to his hopeful elect. He has given the game plan. And it's beautiful to see. He's given prophecy to his men, and it's coming through the apostles and elders of the great millstone on down. And so the game is revealed. We know you're in, Esau. We know that this world of yours goes out in nuclear destruction, and it's due to you losing wisdom within Teman. And it's all because of what you've done in the past. It's all coming back to haunt you, and you're being brought down. That blessing that you had was only temporary. We know that you're going to go into slavery, and then after that slavery, that 1,000 years of long, hard slavery, you're going to go extinct, basically. After that, Obadiah 1 and 18. But it says, people can see the game, anticipate your moves, and resist you openly. What once felt inevitable suddenly looks fragile. And it says, let's get some more script. Because we are not ignorant of his devices. 2 Corinthians 2 and 11. Lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. And the Lord has given that eye salve to his men. And his men are letting the world know that these aren't good people. These are the Edomites. This is the devil of the Bible. These are Satan's people. They are being exposed. As well as their Western civilization, which makes up their beast system, and America, which is Babylon the Great. It's all being exposed because the Lord has given that eye salve, and so their game is being seen. There's no more tricking us because we know you're the devil. It says, second, fear flips direction. Before exposure, others fear what they don't know. After exposure, you fear what everyone now knows. So everything is being turned on these devils. It says that shift alone can unravel authority, especially if your influence depended on intimidation, mystique, or manipulation. And it definitely depends on intimidation. These Edomites' power and rule. You know, Teddy Roosevelt said, "Speak softly and carry a big stick." Mystique. They've been going around the world telling people that they're the Lord's people. That's a mystique right there. Or manipulation, and this is the devil. That's what they do. Their hands are in everything, changing everything, changing history, changing the nationality of people by their false covering they put over them, changing the way that people view the Bible with their Judeo-Christianity. All that's a lie. They can't be saved, so they manipulated the Bible into making people think everybody could be saved. These are lies, and their power has been under that. That's how they've been able to rule, through their intimidation, that blessing is the sword, their mystique, says, or manipulation, their changing of everything. They've used all of these things, calling themselves white as to the mystique, because it makes you think they're innocent and pure, but they're anything but. They're the devil that the Bible speaks of. And that says fear flips direction, in which we also know that fear has flipped. You see it in Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 5, and verse 2. Actually, let's start at 1. Wisdom of Solomon 5 and 1. Then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of such as have afflicted him. Righteous man being the men of Israel that are standing up. His elect men, his prophets and teachers that he has standing up on the highways and byways all around Babylon the Great, aka America, and around this world. We're standing on our feet. Standing back on our feet. This is Ezekiel 37 happening right in front of everybody's faces. Prophecy happening. And it's in great boldness because we could have been lynched years ago, but now is the appropriate time to stand up in front of these people that have afflicted us, starting with the Edomites, but on down to our own people that have afflicted us. And it says, "And made no account of his labors." None whatsoever. They've completely covered up our history and what we've done, and they put all sorts of good things that we've done and inventions onto themselves. They even stole our heritage. It says, when they see it, they shall be troubled with terrible fear. So they're seeing the bold man, the righteous man, stand up in great boldness. And these people are in fear, especially the elite. They can see that their plans aren't going as they normally should. They can see that their secrecy is unveiled. That scares them. When they see it, they shall be troubled with terrible fear, and shall be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation, so far beyond all that they looked for. Great fear fell upon them. That fear flipped directions. Third, it says legitimacy gets tested. If your actions can survive daylight, moral scrutiny, law, or public judgment, you might pivot and retain influence. But that's not going to happen for these Edomites. People see them now. And it's part of prophecy. The Lord's going to expose them first, and then he's going to judge them and bring them down. So their legitimacy is being tested. People know that those aren't the people of the Lord. It says there'll be no more war, but we still have war. It says Israel would dwell in peace and safety alone, but they're not dwelling in safety alone over there. And people see the crimes that they're committing and know that those people are not the legitimate people of the book. And so they're coming down with their anti-S laws to try to shut you up, which is going to lead into the famine of the word, and it all just leads into their downfall, into them coming out of power. If your actions can survive daylight, moral scrutiny, law, or public judgment, you might pivot and retain influence. But if secrecy was hiding hypocrisy, and these are the hypocrites, and we know that the joy of the hypocrite is but for a moment. Abuse, and that's exactly what's in those e-files. It was complete and total abuse. And to the 100th time, infinite time, they were sacrificing children. And it's not anything that could be covered up anymore. They were sacrificing and harming and trying to bring the highest levels of fear to those children so that they could extract that adrenochrome and sell it for however many dollars. They're not going to be able to get out of this. It talks about in Micah how they're not going to be, let me just get it. Devise an evil from which they shall not remove their necks. 3. Micah 2 and 3. Therefore, thus saith the Lord, behold, against this family do I devise an evil. So bad times, we're in it. From which ye shall not remove your necks. So you're not going to be able to get out of this. As it said, abuse is one of those things, and the people see that you are abusive. Remove your necks, neither shall ye go haughtily, for this time is evil. You don't get out of this, Esau. It says, but if secrecy was hiding hypocrisy, you're the biggest hypocrite of all time. You are the hypocrite within the scripts, the joy of the hypocrites. But for a moment, if it's hiding abuse, ooh, you've been abusing, or lies, and you've been lying. You're not white people. You're not the people of the Lord. You are the Edomites. You're red, and you're the lowest form of humanity. You're the basest of men. Exposure doesn't just weaken you, it discredits you, and you're being completely discredited currently, Esau. Since people stop asking, is this true? And start asking, why did they hide it? It's because nobody wants to be the Edomites. Those are the people of the Lord's curse to judgment. And they're being taken out of power as we speak. This is fourth. The Lord said He's not going to meet you as a man. This is the beginning of the Lord visiting you. It says fourth, you're forced into one of three paths. You can reform, so you can own it, change course, rebuild trust slowly. It says it's rare, it's hard, but durable. I think it's supposed to be doable. But you're not going to reform. You can't hold yourself accountable. You're the Edomites. You're just like women. Women don't hold themselves accountable, and these Edomites do not hold themselves accountable. And so, look, it says double down. And this is really what you're going to do. You're going to try to gaslight everybody. It says deny, deflect, smear critics, tighten control. And they're going to try to tighten control on your speech. It says so this is for short-term survival, but long-term collapse. And just to prove that they are doubling down, look what Nero said, Emperor Nero said. He says he's absolved. These latest releases have absolved him of wrongdoing, considering, but his name's in there thousands of times. There's stories of him sticking his fingers into little girls that had not passed the flower of their youth to judge them on their tightness. There's stories of him having Bubba in his mouth. There's stories of him slapping little girls for using a little teeth on him, which this didn't absolve you of any wrongdoing. This really implicated you and your people of wrongdoing. So let's hear this real quick.
What did you think of the latest release of Epstein files, and do you think your critics will be satisfied with?
Well, they should be, because it looked like this guy Wolf was a writer, was conspiring with Epstein to do harm to me. And I didn't see it myself, but I was told by some very important people that not only does it absolve me, it's the opposite of what people were hoping, the radical left. That Wolf, who's a third-rate writer, was conspiring with Jeffrey Epstein to hurt me, politically or otherwise. And that came through loud and clear. So we'll probably sue Wolf on that. And maybe the Epstein estate, I guess. I don't know, but we're going to certainly sue him.
You want to sue the Epstein estate?
Well, you may, I guess so, because he was conspiring with Wolf to do harm to me politically.
That guy's in these things, and this is who runs your country. This is who these people voted for, which also shows a lot of people should not have any say. Most people can't see what's going on. But yeah, doubling down. That's what they're doing. And long-term collapse is on their plate. This America can't be healed. These people can't be healed. They're meant for destruction. It says disappear or transform. Retreat, rebrand, or shift arenas entirely. And ultimately, the Edomites do disappear. They have to be taken out. It says they shall fly away as a dream. In Job, they're not going to be able to transform themselves like the phoenix that they always speak of. They just have to be judged. That judgment is coming. Yahweh Shai is coming to bring their judgment. And these people deserve that judgment. You read through those reports And it's sickening, it's disturbing, and it's crazy they're still standing. It's crazy. See, Americans are docile too. It says fifth, the illusion of control dies. Secrecy-based power is brittle. Once broken, it doesn't bend, it shatters. Real power, which is truth, consent, competence, righteousness, can operate in the open. False power cannot. And we are at that time of the great changing of worlds. Let's get 2nd Ezra 6. And truth is greater than all that they put out, all of their evil. But 2nd Ezra 6 and verse 27. For evil shall be put out, and deceit shall be quenched. It says secrecy-based power is brittle. Once broken, it doesn't bend, it shatters. So it's been quenched. There's a different word for that, but it's being put out. It's being shattered. For evil shall be put out, and deceit shall be quenched. As for faith, it shall flourish. Corruption shall be overcome, and the truth, which has been so long without fruit, shall be declared. This truth is going to stand because we live in a world full of lies. We live in this world full of lies because the liars are at the head. They're being brought out of power, though. Their power is being shattered. Break their teeth, O Lord. And then real power, truth, consent, competence, righteousness can operate in the open. Truth, which has been so long without fruit, is about to flourish. It says false power cannot. There's an old biblical pattern here. For there is nothing covered that shall not be revealed, neither hid that shall not be known. Exposure isn't just punishment, it's judgment. It reveals what kind of power you actually had. It says, if secrecy was the foundation, exposure is the reckoning. If secrecy was just a tactic, exposure is merely a test. The secret of this place is, or the foundations of this place has been secrecy, though. And so exposure is the reckoning, which we're going to end it off here. Back at Jeremiah, we read 49 and 10, but let's read down a little further. Jeremiah 49 and 10. But I have made Esau bare, I have uncovered his secret places, so they've been exposed, and he shall not be able to hide himself. His seed is spoiled, and his brethren, and his neighbors, and he is not. Leave thy fatherless children, I will preserve them alive, and let thy widows trust in me. So your children are going into slavery, and your widows are going to be concubines to the men of the Lord. So you go into slavery, Esau, Edom. For thus saith the Lord, behold, those whose judgment was not to drink of the cup, those are the Israelites, the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, as well as our scattered, have assuredly drunken. We drank that cup of trembling. We went into slavery. We served out the curses of Deuteronomy 28. And now we're coming into the time where these curses are being put onto our enemies. And it says, and art thou he that shall altogether go unpunished? Nah, you're hated of the Lord. You're about to get it the worst of all time. It says, thou shalt not go unpunished, but thou shalt surely drink of it. You're about to drink that cup. You're already drinking that cup. Your women screaming and rallying against you is a sign that you're drinking that cup. They've already cut you off. You being exposed like this is a sign that you were drinking that cup. And it's a sign that judgment is about to come. It says, for I have sworn by myself, saith the Lord, that Basra shall become a desolation. It's going into a capital city of Edom, which you could think of it as America, because America will be a desolation. It's going to get nuked and nobody's going to dwell here ever again. It says, a reproach, a waste, and a curse. and all the cities thereof shall be perpetual waste. Showing it, speaking of Babylon the Great. Edom and Babylon are connected. So just like the white man in America are connected, their judgments are all connected. These are their last days. Esau is the end of the world. Jacob is the beginning of it that follows. And so, that's going to get that, but I think that just about did it. Lord willing, that was edifying. It says, if secrecy was the foundation, exposure is the reckoning. That judgment's coming for them. So, Lord willing, that was edifying. I'd like to give all glory, all praise, all honor to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakach Wadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of the great millstone. Shalom to the elect of Israel. Shalom.